basic ways of doing a forward shoulder roll. There's a diagonal shoulder roll, which is what we should do the bulk of the time. If I think of a Japanese roll, conventional Aikido roll, baby cradle. Yeah, that's how they do it all the time. So everybody always focuses on, well, in Systema we don't slap because if you slap in nature you break your hand and yada yada yada, and that's a tatami technique, and that's true. But that's probably 10% of the importance. It's important, it's about 10%. The 90% importance is that if I do a judo style roll, watch my spine. At this point, the connection of my neck to my spine is on the ground. I am now rolling 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 vertebrae directly on the ground. And then at this point, torquing my body, lower lumbar strain, and coming onto the side. If I do that on cement, I will generally have a succession of bruises on my upper 6 to 7 vertebrae. If you ever see me with a shirt on, I have 4 or 5 pretty much permanent bruises on my lower back from 15 years. It looks like a birthmark. It's literally like decoloration from rolling and rolling and rolling downstairs, upstairs, because that's how they taught rolling. If you look at a Systema roll, the majority of the forward roll should be done in a diagonal manner, meaning that I start off on one side, I do not touch my spine, not even the area between my shoulder blades, and I switch and come down on the meat on the other side. When we think of our shoulder circles that we did yesterday, I sit up, I went down breathing with the meat, lightly crunching my shoulders together, and I sort of transition from shoulder to shoulder. That's why we do shoulder rocking, is to teach me how to move on the ground without touching my spine. I do not round my back and grind my spine. I come down on the meat, transition to the other side, and I come up. If I have trouble feeling it, I throw a few sticks on the floor and I do it and I go, and I feel it right away. Anytime I roll, I should not touch my spine. So the ideal roll should not touch the spine. That's why we transition shoulder to shoulder. And secondly, should distribute and dissipate force, not in the Japanese way of smashing it into the floor. And the Japanese notion is if I land like this, all my power is there. But if I land like this, it's everywhere. 10% suckage equally distributed throughout the body, which is great until your ankle hits a rock or your palm hits a ball. The Systema notion is we spiral it like water going down the drain, so you guys can do it the opposite direction. So when I go over, there's always a slight rotation. My body has that capacity, right? I won't show it today, we won't do it today, but really, really advanced rolling, the only example that you're going to really see on YouTube for ourselves is, if you look at a very good example, is General Alexander Bruczynski from the Ross system, one of the major founders of Systema. He's a big lad, big guy, 240, biggish. And when he does his rolls, if you really watch them, he goes shoulder to shoulder in intent and then switches again before impact. So he'll start rolling as if he's there, and then before he impacts, switch. And sometimes switch a third or fourth time in the air. So his rolls are always kind of like that. There's always a twist going on, as if I was trying to go down, but then the surface area changed, so then I bring this one over at the last second. Even doing it in the air, so that instead of just saying, this is a comfortable, good Systema roll, right shoulder, left shoulder, I'm all good. He would start with left, and then go to the right to the left. Boom, boom, awesome. It's very hard to see when you go fast. So what I want to do is I want to see that I have that control, at least in my lower torso, because that's what allows me to convert it into any position. If I don't have that spiral control, I'm doomed to fall where I'm falling. Does that make sense? Try as you go to switch very slowly from one side to the other, and then come down on that second side. If you acquire this, then as you're at that transition point, you can go any direction you want. If you don't, you can't. That's the nugget that's missing. That's why when you see people rolling, going here, and then falling there, it's because they don't have control of the shoulder transition, or they're not even aware that it's occurring accidentally. If you've ever rolled there and ended up there, that's why. And if you just say, I gotta straighten that up, good luck. You're not going to get it if you don't know how to get there. So, mindful of what shoulder is touching first, try to transition to the second. Never stop, never change your speed. Don't hike up, don't fall down. To have control, you need to seek continuous speed throughout that entire range of motion so that I see exactly what's required. Head is never touching. That's the goal. There you go. You gotta try to balance on your shoulder. If you're stuck at that middle piece, and that's the only place you're really overwhelmed, I'm kind of great with this. I'm getting comfortable here, and then I go, I don't even know what to contract, and then I go here, and I fall. And then I'm smooth again. If that's happening, it means those middle 3 to 4 centimeters are where you need to focus. So what I need to do, as clumsy as it may look, is get here and try to see, can I keep my body up in a very muscular way? Again, I'm shaking for your edification. Okay, you're going to be like this. And then as I get more comfortable, maybe I need to put my head on the ground at first and see how I can balance. And then from there it's going to look much different, of course. You can use chairs, whatever. I go side by side to side. I find my balance. Can I lift up one shoulder? I can take my head off, sort of hiccuping like this. Right, so I'll be in this position and I'll kind of do this a few times and then I'll fall back. And then as I get comfortable, I'll show you what the final version looks like. I go up as high as I can, straight as I get. Forget this. It is bad enough having the head on the floor. I do this, now I have my triceps on the floor. I want to minimize my surface area, and then I see, and I get one side off, and I get my other side off. You can pose. Get the magazine covers. Can I go on both? It's a tripod. I always want to take one leg off. So what do I need to move them? If you can eliminate each of those 3 points in the tripod, you're identifying every muscle you'll need for either direction of hold.